always putting people on the newest trends, like on the latest trends, like putting them on game basically. And so that's where that came from. And so it was cool while it lasted. I had a Discord channel that was like super active for a little while, and then I got burnt out and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this either. Like the content is fun. I started developing a passion to make content, but that wasn't the lane, that wasn't the avenue, right? So kind of walked away from that. Then around this time, this is when like God started talking to me and my wife to start a business. And it was actually a clothing brand. He was telling us to start a clothing brand. This was like right around the time Balenciaga had that scandal that happened with all the kids and stuff. And God clearly spoke to me and he was like, I want my name to be glorified in this industry, talking about the fashion industry. And he starts giving us this idea for this clothing brand. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I start, doing my research on the clothing brand, like finding vendors, manufacturers, all this stuff like that. And then I ended up coming across who I call today my mentor, but Myron Golden. Have you heard of Myron Golden before? Familiar with him?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So ended up coming across, actually my mom, she sent it to the family group chat. She sent us one of his videos. And when I tell you, bro, my life literally has not been the same since then. Like since that time in 2022, my life has not been the same. Like I became a student of Myron Golden, like binge watching his videos because it was just breaking off so many strongholds that I had about money and wealth and riches and business and mindset and faith and everything, bro. Like it was just like renewing my mind in a way that, has never happened to me before. And so I was like, no, this dude is different. Like I gotta pay attention. So in 2023, like the end of 2023, I ended up getting this prophetic word, and God basically started prophesying over me that he was going to start elevating me. He was going to start sending me out into the marketplace, and he was going to start blessing the work of my hands. He was going to start giving me favor in business, and he was going to start giving me a voice to start discipling people in my generation, speaking to their calling and their purpose and all of this stuff. Like it was a crazy, crazy, crazy word, right? It was like 6 or 7 people that like prophesied and prayed over me, right? And this is like not too long after he just told me and my wife to start this business. So I get this crazy prophetic word. And then shortly after that, beginning of 2024, God was like, all right, quit your job. And so I was like, all right, cool, let's go. Like, you about to bless this business. You about to bless this brand. Like, we about to make all this money. Like, let's go. Let's do it. So I'm hyped now, bro. So I quit my job. And I'm like, all right, I got to hurry up and launch this business because, like, we don't have no money coming. Well, my wife was still working at the time. So I quit my job. I'm like, all right, well, we got to hurry up and get stuff together. We got to launch this business because God just told me he's finna bless us with this business. Like, all this stuff's finna happen. So then God was like, tell your wife to quit her job. I was like, whoa. I was like, wait, like, we got little savings, but it ain't nothing crazy. Like, you sure you want her to quit her job too? Because like then we would have $0 coming in. He's like, tell her to quit her job. So I had to like go and tell my wife, like, hey, God's telling you to quit your job. We just bought a house. We were trying for a kid, and we had very minimal savings at the time. So we both quit our jobs. Now we have $0 coming in, bro. And we just have this business that he told us to start. So still in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, God is like miraculously gonna like provide through this business. So I'm in a rush. Like I'm like, we need to launch this business like as soon as possible so we can start making this money because we don't have any money coming in and we just have bills and we just bought this house and like I don't want to lose everything. So now my motivation has shifted from starting this business because God is wanting to bless other people through it to I need to make money to take care of my, my family and my responsibilities. So my motive switched. So long story short, I end up launching this business and it flopped. Like flop, bro. Like we didn't even have enough sales to do the bulk order. We had to refund everybody their money. We had to send everybody their money back because we didn't even get enough orders in to order the bulk order. And so now I'm like, that did not go anything like that did not go how I imagined it going. And it definitely didn't go the way that you were making it sound like it was going to go. And so then after that situation happens, God basically leads me and my wife into this season of like intense prayer and fasting, like intense prayer and fasting. Like neither of us had ever done it in an extreme intentional way like this before. And when I tell you, like, God was testing our faith in such an extreme way during this season, but he was also strengthening us and grounding our faith. Because even though I had assumed that God was going to perform this great word one type of way, he was after something completely different during that season. And so while we were off of work, all we had was time to spend in his presence and to pray and to fast. We grew together so much, like as a couple, individually in our personal walks with God, but like our faith grew so deep in that season because we literally had to rely on God for every dollar to come in. Like we had no money coming in, and God was like supernaturally providing for us. We were out of work for 6 months, bro. 6 months. We didn't lose our house. None of our utilities got shut off. We didn't lose our cars. Like nothing was missing. You know what I'm saying? Like that was God's supernatural providence. And he was teaching us so much in that season. And it didn't really have anything to do with the business that he was telling us to start. So then at the end of the season, I'm like, all right, maybe now he's going to bless the business. Nah, he told me to go back to my job. He told me to go back to FedEx. So I was frustrated because I'm like, dang, God, like I thought I was done with that. Like I told myself I was never gonna go back and work for anybody again. You gave me this crazy word, like, I'm ready for this to happen. He was like, nah, go back to your job. So I go back to FedEx, and he's just taking me through character development. He's just refining me. He's honing me in. He's working on me. He's teaching me things. I learned so much about business from that season that I didn't know that I needed to know. And that's when I really started learning about marketing, right? And so this is kind of like catching me up to like where I'm at today. So we end up, my wife gets pregnant, and I was like, bro, I have to figure something out now. Like I have a son on the way now. And what type of example am I going to set for my son? You know what I'm saying? Like what type of father am I going to be for my son? Now, because you have the backstory of all my cousins that passed away and my brother who had stillborn twins and he passed away, like I take fatherhood very serious because my cousins and my brother didn't get the opportunity to be fathers, like at least not for a long period of time. My cousins, they all had children, but their life ended short. And so now their children don't have fathers. My brother literally didn't get a chance to be a father because his twins were stillborn. So it's like when I found out my wife was having a son or having a boy, I was like, bro, like I want to be as present as possible for my son. Like I don't want to miss any moment in his life. I want to be there for him every step of the way. Like I take fatherhood extremely serious because the other males in my family, they didn't get that opportunity. And so I see it as a huge blessing. So I was like, bro, I have to figure something out by 2025 because there's no way that I'm going to be slaving away at a job for somebody else and allow them to dictate how much time I get to spend with my son and like determine who gets to raise my son. You know what I'm saying? I'm not leaving him in no daycare with strangers. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm going to be there to raise him. So literally I just started looking for some things, and I kind of came across digital marketing. And I was like, okay, this sounds like something that I can do. Like I'm already passionate about the content. I've already done content before with a couple of channels. Like they were somewhat successful, right? So I know how to make videos. I just need to learn how to market. You know what I'm saying? And so long story short, I ended up like going through this course that taught me a whole lot of stuff about digital marketing. But the bells kind of started ringing because I was like, oh, like this is why I was making good money as a music producer, because I was doing all of these things. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I was just doing them, right? I was just posting on 5 different platforms every single day, multiple times a day. I was just reaching out to people in DMs and responding to comments and doing all this stuff, nurturing people, sending emails, all that stuff. I didn't know the technical of what I was doing, but it was working. But then I go through this course and now I'm learning all of the technical stuff. I'm like, oh, like there is strategy to this, And so after I go through that course, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start a new page. I'm gonna start posting content, and I'm just gonna lock in on this skill set for the entire year until it works. I literally promised my son, I was like, I'm gonna do this until it works so that I can give my family the life that I want to give them, like the life that they deserve to live, and so that I can be a present father 24/7 in their life. So I literally made that promise to myself. I made that promise to my son that I wasn't gonna quit until I made it work. January comes around, start posting content. It's not doing anything at all. And then I started overthinking. I'm like, all right, maybe this isn't going to work out like I thought it was going to work. So I started getting discouraged. So literally February, I ended up ghosting my account, like didn't post anything for like 3 months. I was just in my mind overthinking. I'm like, man, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. It's going to take way longer than a year. Like maybe I just need to hang this up and go find something else. And then I started remembering. I'm like, bro, I made a promise like to my son and to myself that I wasn't going to quit and I wasn't going to give up until I made it work. So I just got back in the game, and I was like, you know what? Let me stop worrying about like numbers and results and like how many likes and shares and comments I'm getting. Let me just focus on making good content. Let me just focus on improve. I started reading that book, Atomic Habits, and that's like literally like what changed everything for me. Once I like learned about that 1% rule, like that principle, that changed everything for me. I was like, oh, I just need to improve by 1% every single day. That's how I end up becoming successful, because at the end of the year, that's 365% better than what I was when I started. So I'm like, there it is. That's literally all I needed from that entire book. So I was like, you know what? Let me just see if I can show up every single day for myself and be better by 1%. And let's see what happens in 90 days. So when I made that promise, I started being super consistent, super diligent. Like I literally was posting 3 times a day on TikTok for 90 days. I only missed like 2 days. So I guess 88 days, right? But you talking about super locked in, super consistent. I'm posting the most consistent I've ever been. And literally at the end of that 90 days, everything started taking off and going up. And stuff started working, right? So now as my account started growing, I ended up pivoting again, which kind of landed me to where I'm at today. Because even like you can go and look at my old content. I left it up for a reason, but like you can go and scroll to the end of my page and look at my old content. Like I was still very me-centered. I was still very like, hey, like I have this product. I want you to buy this product from me. Like, hey, I have this digital product. I want you to buy this from me. Like, this is why you need to buy this digital product, right? Because that's what I learned from this course. That's what everybody else was doing. And so I still didn't even understand, like, okay, the less you focus about yourself and your needs, and the more you focus about serving these people that God is giving you a voice with and giving you influence with, the more God is going to elevate you and bring you more people, and he's going to take care of you. Like it was like that verse that you were talking about, right? Like if God is you know, clothing the lilies, you know, and he feeds all the animals and stuff like that, like how much more does he love you? How much more is he going to take care of you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, stop worrying about yourself. So literally when I made that switch and I pivoted to like, okay, I need to make content that is going to provide the most value to a complete stranger that doesn't know me, and that has enough value that it can actually change their life. And when I took the focus off of myself and like trying to build this image for myself or this platform for myself, or like trying to get some type of monetary gain out of it, and I genuinely was like, all right, God, how can I serve these people? Like, give me the wisdom on how I can serve these people to my greatest ability and how I can please you in the middle of it. Like when I actually made that shift, that's when everything started exploding. And like, that's how I ended up where I'm at right now. But you're talking about almost a 5-year journey. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny because it's like you'll get the comments and people be like, oh man, you blew up overnight. Like you came out of nowhere. It's like, bro, I've been in the trenches for the last 5 years, bro. What you mean? Like I've been going through it. Like, but like you said, like people, they'll come and they'll see my story now, they'll see my content now, but like they don't know where I came from. You know, they don't know the struggles and the hardships that I went through, the challenges that I faced to get here. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to do content and not being, you know, successful, and quitting and like having to overcome my mindset, and like still having to remember the word that God spoke over me when everything in my life didn't visually align with what God was telling me. Like that was the hardest part. It's like, God, you gave me this crazy word and told me I'm supposed to do all of this stuff, but everything in my life looks the complete opposite. And it's like God literally having a hammer, like faith is not built in your eyes. Doubt is built in your eyes. Faith is built in your ears. You have to remember the word of the Lord to actually build and stir up your faith. So it's like I constantly had to keep reminding myself, like, no, but God said, but God said, but God said, but God said. And it was like, yeah, you can be motivated, right? You can have motivation. That's cool. That's going to fade. Yeah, you can have discipline. You know, you can be very disciplined and very structured and stuff like that. You know, it's still a little shallow. You have to remember the promises of God. Like at the end of the day, that's what you have to remember. That is the only thing of substance that you can actually stand firm on and know for a fact that is not going to return void to God, because God is not a man that he should lie. God cannot lie, right? It is against his nature. God is truth. So it's just like when you finally understand that, then when God starts to speak to you, that builds your faith greater than any motivation or discipline ever would. Because it's like, this is God speaking. Like he can't lie to himself. So everything that he's saying to me, it has to come to pass. And you can hold God to his word, right? You can remind God of what he said. You can hold him to his word. It's not going to return void to him. So it's like once that started clicking in my mind and my mindset started shifting, a lot of thanks to Myron Golden too for helping me go through that deliverance and breaking those strongholds over my mind and actually understanding like how God operates and how he keeps his covenant promise with his people and stuff like that. But like once I started realizing this, like I just